all worked out. Everything was
Yeah.
good. So, but
Wow.
but it's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting into your coaching methodology and your work and your history. And to begin that process, I want to talk about something that obviously impacted your coaching quite a bit, but it was all momentous for us, which is COVID. And I know we're getting fatigued by talking about it, but ultimately, how did you survive that time period, and how has it changed the way that you do things now?
It was truly revolutionary in the way I lived. I almost feel bad saying this sometimes, but COVID was like a big shifting in my life and for the better, actually. I know a lot of people struggled,
Yeah.
but I had quit my job of 4 years that I'd fully burnt out in February 2020 and moved to Australia with my partner at the time. And we had just planned this year of freedom and travel. We'd save some money. We were just going to go have fun and explore and then figure out what we wanted to do next. And then we got to Australia and COVID hit. And this year of crazy fun and travel went into lockdown. We were very fortunate. We had friends to live with, and we locked down with them for 8 weeks. And during that time, I was like, well, I'm not traveling, so what am I going to do? So I got some consulting opportunities with some companies I'd worked with, and then I really started to just reflect and do the deep work thinking, what do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to aim next? And out of that, over the next few months, I came to I'm really passionate about coaching. I'd been doing it for 4 years at that point, and I'm really passionate about helping small business owners specifically to build a business that improves their life and doesn't take it over. Because I'd seen so many entrepreneurs build impressive businesses, but trade all their time, trade all their freedom, miss out on the family time they wanted, miss out on the exercise that they were hoping to get. And I was really passionate about helping people break through that. So COVID gave me the space to do the deep work, reflect and reorient, and then rebuild my life around like how do I help people do this and how do I build a business and a life that I love in the process.
I think we're all coming to different levels of revelations from living through that time period because there was so much that was confusing, but I think there's been so many people that have been overwhelmingly positive about that time. Doesn't take away from the woe and all of the destruction that happened, but I think on a cellular level, humans needed that moment to slow down collectively because we've all been moving so fast. And it's like I always kind of find it as the metaphor of like on your phone when you film something in slow motion, you're like, my God, I had no idea that was happening. And it's literally just a small event that happened in front of you. It could be two dogs playing in the backyard, but when you see it in slow motion, you slow everything down and you get to kind of hone in. And it's kind of what we did during that time period. We got to hone in and say, is this because I think there's a part of my mentality that I almost feel like it's like the biblical left behind, like the rapture happened and we're here and what are we going to do? How are we going to live out the rest of our lives? And especially when you get to our age, you know that the sun isn't rising the whole time. It's starting to set and you got to make some choices.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I looked at it as a reset. And as I mentioned, I had fully burnt out just previous to COVID. I was in a point of barely able to sleep, physically tired, emotionally and socially drained from work travel over years of years.
Yeah.
So when that went away, and then this incredible space was created in life, it really gave me the opportunity to go deep and to reflect. And not only did it lead me to building my business, but it also led me to moving out of the city. I realized that despite living in the city my whole life and never thinking I would leave, I really actually liked more downtime, more quiet, more space to reflect. So I moved 2 hours outside of the city to a small coastal town of 5,000, and I live there now. And the capacity I have in my life to think clearly, to take care of my health and my well-being, to read books and learn is so much higher now because I've left behind the noise of the city and the franticness of the life that I was living that I wouldn't have even been aware of if we hadn't had that opportunity to step back.
So right now in 2024, I want to get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. And to do that, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade schoolers, third graders. It's career day. One of the kids is curious and says, hey, what do you do for a living? How do you answer them?
I help business owners grow their business and enjoy their life more by having control of their time and getting support so that they can grow their business past just them doing it all themselves. And what that looks like on a daily basis is me talking to people around North America over Zoom and helping them understand their problems and helping them find the right solutions for them.
What did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
You know, I've reflected back and I can't really remember. I don't really remember having like career aspirations. I didn't want to be an astronaut or famous athlete or anything.
Yeah.
But my dad was a carpenter and
Okay.
built houses and movie sets. And so he would always bring me along on jobs and, I'd get to see what he was building. And at the time I was all in on Lego. So uh, if I have to pick, my earliest kind of memories are of me wanting to build things.
Yeah. Well, take me back to your beginnings. You kind of opened up a little bit, but take me back to where you were born and raised, and what were some of these foundational elements that evolved into you helping businesses get to a better place?
I was born and raised in Vancouver, and I was really blessed. I had an incredible childhood, beautiful, supportive parents, an incredible group of friends and family around me. And so I really spent the whole first 20 years of my life just enjoying life and being open and not a lot of problems or concerns. And then in my early 20s, I went through university and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was really unclear. I tried a little bit of everything. And as I was doing that, I started a painting business in university to pay for school. And it was a summer job. And as I was going through the process of that, I started to really enjoy the freedom of being my own boss, choosing my own hours. And over 4 years, by the time I got out of school, I actually decided I don't even need to go into the career that I was trained for, which was geography, but I actually want to go into, I want to just keep running this business. And I used the business as a platform to live the life I wanted to live. So I would work 8 months a year and then I would travel the other four.
Wow.
And I would put the business on hold and I didn't have to tell anybody because I was just my own boss. And I loved that.
Yeah.
So then over the next 4 years, I traveled all over the world, lived on different continents and explored over 40 countries. And that really opened up my mind of just how many different ways there are to live and how in North America specifically, we get very consumed with work, with money, with trying to attain a certain level of success. And then you go to these other countries where people have way less and they live much different lives with much less money and everything, but they're significantly happier
Yeah.
because they have more time. And what I started to realize early was that the life we want to live isn't dependent on having all the money in the world. It's dependent on having enough time to enjoy ourselves and to do the things that are important to us. So when I started coaching other businesses, I kept seeing people have the same experience of I start this business. I'm leaving my corporate job behind. I want to work less. I want to enjoy my life more. And then in the process of doing that, because it's hard, it's stressful, there's pressure, the opposite would happen. They go to working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
They go to missing out on everything and they trade the thing they want, the time and the freedom, for the thing that they think will help them get more of it later, which is more money and more growth. And so I try to help people break through that because I believe you can have the life you want today if you manage your time carefully. If you don't work more than 40, 50 hours a week and you take time for vacations and all that stuff, because that's what people really want in their lives if you ask them.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, of all of these places that you've been to, all the continents and all the land that you've seen, what was one of the most unexpectedly magical places that you went to?
I would say Vietnam.
Wow.
It's top to bottom. I explored really extensively there. Top to bottom, one of the most diverse and interesting countries I've ever been to. There's incredible mountains, there's dunes, there's islands, there's historic cities, there's temples. Like it just every few days I would be in a completely different place that was so distinct and the people were amazing and the food was I still miss the food there. So
Man, the food, I can only imagine.
yeah,
That would be stellar. Yeah.
yeah.
It's amazing to think about how much Vietnam has been a part of the American history. And when you really think about it, when the soldiers would talk about it, they would talk about how beautiful it was there. I always remember that. whether it was firsthand or it was in movies or whatever, there was always this kind of hearkening behind the shadow of war. That land was this magical place, you
It
know?
really is. The jungle's there, the islands, there's these river deltas, and people have been living there for thousands and thousands of years and cultivated a really unique way of living.
Yeah. So what, who's been a hero for you? Who's been that inspiration for you in your career?
There was a leader that in my first corporate job, he was the leader, the director of our team, and his name was James Alish. And he just instilled everyone around him with confidence that we could do great things together. He like motivated us, and he was an incredible coach. He was an incredible leader. And I was so young in my career, I looked at him and I was like, how do you ever get to be at that level where you can influence people around you and people look up to you? And it intimidated me at the time. And then, like, the more time I thought about it, the more I realized I want to be that type of person. I want to be a person who improves the lives of those around me. I want to help other people achieve their goals and believe they can do things that they don't believe they can do right now. And that's why I've invested a lot of my time and effort in coaching and leadership development. And I really look at those as the tools to help other people live better lives.
So in this new venture of coaching and helping people get to a better place, what was the first client, the first moment or first period of this new incarnation where you saw a sparkle in someone's eye and you thought, this is what I need to do. This is the life I need to live.
So most the biggest story that comes to mind was I started talking to a former colleague, and I was new in starting my business and getting clear on what I wanted to do, but I started talking to them, and they were talking about how hard it was for them. They were growing two businesses at the time, and it was taking 84 to 90 hours a week. It was a full-time everyday job. And they said their partner was like threatening to leave them. They were in like really a dire place. So they were talking to me about this, and I just asked a lot of questions because I was curious, like, how did you get here? What's leading to you working this way? Why are you doing this? All this stuff. And deepening my understanding and their understanding, we got to the point of realizing they were working so hard because their dream was to be able to take more time and vacation with their partner, go to go spend time with their family and take time off. And by helping them understand that the way they were working was actually taking them further away from the thing they wanted rather than closer to it, this switch flipped for them. And within a few weeks, they'd cut 24 hours a week and they'd regained their life. And that hit me so hard of, wow, that's what's possible when you help a person understand their situation
Yeah.
and you help them find the right path forwards. And I work with people who they actually have the opposite. They're like, I'm willing to work more. I'm willing to do more. I want to grow and do all this stuff. But to me, coaching is really about helping that person achieve their personal goals.
So if you can meet one person alive on the planet right now that you find fascinating and you could just kind of get a window into their world, who would it be?
Ryan Reynolds,
Yeah.
he's actually a local Vancouver guy, but he's obviously quite famous as an actor and now an investor. But what I really like about what he does is he's grown all these huge successful businesses. He does it in a really authentic way. He does it in a very unique way by the way he markets and connects his brands. And then I'm a big fan of the Welsh soccer team that he bought,
Yeah.
and it's called Welcome to Wrexham. I
Uh-huh.
love what he's doing. I think he's just bringing positive energy into the world, and
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about. He's just lifting up people all around him.
So what is that motivation every day for you to wake up to do what you do? Because you're giving a lot of yourself to help others, but you also are a person that needs to grow as a human being. What is that collective gumption for you every day to do this work?
Well, as I said, I feel like I've lived a truly blessed life in terms of where I live, the opportunities I've had, the people that are around me, and I'm extremely happy in the life that I've built. So I look at not wanting to chase more for me, but wanting to help other people achieve, their goals. And it's not fully selfless. Like obviously I have paying clients and everything, but the way I see it is if I help someone achieve their goals, it also helps me achieve mine. And so for me, it's about living like the most present and balanced life I can, and then showing other people that it's possible, that you can, work the hours you choose, you can travel the world when you want, you can live all the way, you can do all that stuff and have a successful business at the same time.
Absolutely. So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into a younger version of you, an 18-year-old version of you. You can give that young version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've led, the wisdom you've gained along the way. What advice would you impart on that younger version of you?
Wow, such a good question.
Huh.
I would say the biggest thing that holds us back is our fear. And the sooner we are willing to acknowledge what we're afraid of and then go and take action anyways, the sooner everything we want in life will happen. So I knew I wanted to start the business that I have today 5 years ago, but I held myself back and I made excuses and I told myself why it was going to be too hard or too risky or I wasn't ready. And then when I finally broke through that, it all opened up and it happened. And now I'm where I am. And I really truly think we can achieve whatever we want when we get over our fears.
So, of everything that you've done and accomplished and overcome in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I would say it's the decisions I've made to leave behind situations that weren't working for me
Yeah.
in careers, in businesses, when it didn't feel right anymore, when I found myself waking up and dragging myself through the day or dreading the workday, it's knowing that that's not how I want to live and being willing to make a leap and leave that behind to find a better path. And it's always led me to a new and more exciting place.
So, everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone around you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Hmm. I think of myself as a very positive, optimistic, but also calm and balanced person. So I love to encourage and cheerlead and support people around me, but I also love to be quiet and reflective and learn and grow on my own. And I'm very self-motivated. And so I'm like constantly looking for ways that I can learn more through podcasts, through books, through whatever, and then continue to share that with others and help them grow faster.
So, having an adventurous spirit, my final question to you is this. If we get off this call, time machine pulls up, you can go anywhere in the history of time and see one event in human history. Where are you going?
Wow. I've always been really curious what it would be like to go to ancient Egypt and see what that looked like before, it was all just dust.
Uh-huh.
See it when it was like fully painted and colorful and alive.
Yeah.
But as an observer, I don't think it'd be great to, the odds of going back there and being a pharaoh are pretty low.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just to see what's going on. Hey, if anyone wants to reach out, hire you, learn more about what you're doing, any of the good business, where's the best place to go?
So you can go to my website, theintentionalbusiness.com, or if you're on LinkedIn, that's where I spend my most time. I post content and share lessons and stuff there, and it's Jordan Tait at LinkedIn.
Excellent. Jordan, thank you. This has been fascinating. I appreciate your story. Keep doing the great work. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Joe. Really enjoyed it.
It was great. Take care.